Hey everyone, my name is Austin and this channel is all about helping you to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith and film and everything in between. If that's exciting to you and you're new here, you can subscribe to my channel for a new video every Friday. We are now through the entire holiday season. We've done my decade video, we've gone through my top 10 movies from the past year, and now as my kind of final with the end of the year, beginning of the new year videos, we're going to talk about my 10 most anticipated movies of 2020. I'm going to be throwing in a few honorable mentions throughout this video. I'll start with one, maybe sprinkle them in throughout, of ones that were close but just didn't quite make my top 10 list for anticipated. Maybe you haven't heard of some of these, but you've probably heard of most of these. I tend to like a lot of the popular movies that are coming out, so let's jump right in. Also, do note that this list won't really be in any particular order. If I get to one that I'm just ultra excited about, I'm going to tell you it's pretty high up on my list, but for the most part, this is just a general list. No sequence necessarily. Coming up first, we're going to go with the Disney remake of Mulan. Now, the animated version of Mulan was one of my favorite Disney classics growing up. I always enjoyed the movie, and it was probably the first movie that really got me interested in Asian culture. It's always kind of fascinated me since then. That's why I've gotten into martial arts movies and different things like that, I think. And I'm really excited about the new Mulan movie because from what we can see so far, it really seems like it's taking a different approach and angle, which I really am excited about because a good bit of the Disney remakes so far have just been straight remakes. Like, I thought this past year's Lion King was just awful. It was basically the exact same movie, and we all fell for it. But this Mulan movie, they're going more with the legend of Mulan, which I'm excited about. They're taking out the music, which I did like the music in Mulan, but I'm okay with them taking out the music if they're focusing more on the actual historical legend that goes into this story. And that makes me very excited for what this movie can be. Next, and this one is absolutely one of those ones that I mentioned that's very high up on my list, that is A Quiet Place Part 2. The trailer for this one just dropped a little over a week ago, and I don't think I could be more excited for this one. I'm really intrigued at where they're going to go with the story for this one. I won't spoil the ending of the first one if you've not seen it yet. I highly recommend it if you've not gotten around to it yet because it's a really good movie, and I'm really curious where they're going to take this family moving forward after the events of what take place and the last one. It looks like they might explore a little bit when this apocalypse first broke out and these monsters and where they came from, so we might see a little bit more of that. It's hard to say at this point, but we're only just a few months away from the movie, so I'm very excited to have John Krasinski return, Emily Blunt. All the kids in the movie were great as well, and I'm very excited. This is very highly anticipated for me. Next one, I've been probably putting this on my anticipated of the upcoming year list for 2 years now, and that is the New Mutants. This is finally the year. We're finally going to see the New Mutants. We have no idea how this movie's actually going to turn out. If it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, going to be great, somewhere in the middle, we don't know. All we know is we're finally getting this movie, and it's going to be the original vision of the original director. So none of the reshoots, the studio interference, any of that, which makes me excited because those movies tend to be well received, and it's really cool to see what the original plan was for the movie followed through all the way to the end. Especially when it comes to these superhero movies, it's always more exciting to me to see what someone does that's different rather than just a continuation of the same. Now let's do an honorable mention. This one didn't quite make my top 10, but it was pretty close. And that is Free Guy. This is an upcoming comedy that's going to have Ryan Reynolds in it. He basically plays essentially an NPC in GTA. That's not with any of that licensing, but it's a GTA type game with an NPC character played by Ryan Reynolds who decides he doesn't want to be an NPC anymore. He wants to change the world, and the movie looks hilarious just based on the trailer alone, Ryan Reynolds being involved. All of that already just gets me excited, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Next, back to my list, is Fast and Furious 9. I don't think we have an official name for this one yet, but had it not been for what I did this past year of going through all of the Fast and Furious movies for the first time. I'm yet to see Hobbs and Shaw still, but that one is on my list of to watch. But I'm very excited where this is going to go next. I'm very excited to see a Fast and Furious movie in the theater for the first time because they're made to be seen on the big screen with just the spectacle of all the action and everything. I love all the characters. I enjoy the stories. I'm very invested in the franchise for what little I've been a fan of it, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Another superhero one that I'm excited for, Wonder Woman 1984. We're finally getting back to the Wonder Woman franchise. It's been it's been a few years since we have gotten to see this character. I'm very interested in what we're going to do with this story. There's a lot of mysteries that we've been shown so far. We don't know exactly how we're getting there, specifically with the story of Steve Trevor and how he's coming back since his character died in the first one. But I'm very excited. I love Gal Gadot in the role of Wonder Woman. I think she was made to play that role. And I like Wonder Woman, probably one of the best movies in the DCEU so far. I think this movie will continue to add more of, I guess, explanation of where the DCEU is going in the future, as they're kind of doing differently rather than the big, culmination of an Avengers Endgame type event. So I'm excited to see what we do next with this. Now this one, up until we saw a trailer, I was like, okay, we're doing a sequel to Top Gun, whatever. But then the first trailer dropped, and wow, not only did it just obviously tap into the nostalgic part of the, I guess, franchise now, with being Top Gun, with the music, the aesthetic, all that kind of stuff, Tom Cruise, of course, but then the just commitment that Tom Cruise has to filmmaking in general is very prominently on display with this movie. It's no exception. For a long time, people didn't really need a sequel, this one being that the director passed away that made the first one, and it was only him who could have come back to do it. But Tom Cruise, hearing and reading about the story that this director had come up with for the new one, just thought, we have to do this. And then when they dropped that video, I think it's just like a 5-minute long video showing all of some behind the scenes stuff and the commitment that the rest of the actors are bringing to this film. Actually learning to fly these planes and jets, and their commitment to the training, not only just in the acting part of this movie, but the stunt work that is involved as well, makes me just super excited. I can't wait to see this on the big screen. I'm sure it's going to be one that's just going to gravitate your eyes right towards that screen for the entire runtime. I'm very excited to see what Top Gun Maverick does. This one you might be a bit surprised is on my list. It's probably, I don't even know what this movie is going to be. Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. I'm excited to see Godzilla and King Kong just go at it. And I have no idea what this movie is going to be. We don't even have a trailer yet. We just know it's going to be Godzilla versus King Kong. Maybe Ghidorah is going to come back from Godzilla King of the Monsters. We really don't know anything about this, but I'm just excited to see these characters again on the big screen. I really like Kong Skull Island as well, so I'm excited to see that version of Kong grown up even more, because he was, I think, like a teenager, quote unquote, in that movie, so he's going to be even bigger. And just the two of them, I don't think they're going to fight for too long. They're probably going to do a BVS type thing where they fight a little bit and then have to work together for something. So we'll see where this goes. I'm just excited to see this franchise continue. They're not the best movies made, but they're just thoroughly entertaining theater experiences. Alright, next, Eternals. I'm more excited for Eternals, I think, than Black Widow, because though Black Widow's kind of moving into the next phase, because it's like, we're in the next phase, but it takes place during phase 3. So it's going to be kind of weird, because we're not really moving into the next phase yet. So that's why I'm more excited, I think, for Eternals, because it's going to give us an idea of where we're going next with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going into the cosmic realm, and I'm really curious what that's going to look like. We don't have any teaser images really, or any trailers, anything yet really. We just have a trailer and a cast list. But that alone just gets me excited for what's going to be next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I grew up a lot with this franchise, so it has a special place in my heart. I can't wait to see where it goes next. Alright, 2 more honorable mentions real quick. First one is going to be Dune. Now, this probably would be on a lot of people's top 10 lists. It didn't quite make mine because I've not seen the original Dune. I've not read the Dune book. I've seen bits and pieces of the movie because my dad watched it growing up, and he respects the movie for what it was trying to do, that it does have a cult following now. So I've seen bits and pieces of it, but the fact that Denis Villeneuve, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, is attached to this movie as the director, and it has the cast list that it does, makes me incredibly excited for what this movie could be. I do not believe it comes out until towards the end of this year, but I'm very highly anticipating what this movie is going to turn out to be. I hope it does very well because there's a lot of talent attached to it as well. My last honorable mention is a movie called Mank. This is one you've probably not heard of unless you're more of a film buff. There's really not much out there as far as this movie goes. This is essentially the story of how the script and eventual movie of Citizen Kane came to be. I've seen this movie once. I watched it in a film study class I took in college, and I appreciate it for what it was. It's not really my kind of thing. The movie is a little slow and boring, but I can totally see why it has the respect and just an appreciation that it does because of what it did for filmmaking moving forward. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea. But the fact that David Fincher, one of the greatest directors working today, is coming to direct this movie, and Gary Oldman is in it, which is one of my favorite actors who's working today, I'm very excited. Now, the script for this movie was written by David Fincher's father, who I don't know much about the history of this one, but just the fact that David Finch took this script that his father wrote and could not get to film back in the day and has made it his own, I very highly anticipate what this movie is going to be. Again, because we don't know much about this movie, it's in my list, but I'm still very excited for it. We're in the final two for top anticipated movies of 2020. First, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I have seen the first Ghostbusters movie. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but I really liked the first one. And actually didn't get around to seeing the trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife until I started thinking about making this video and what I wanted to include on it. I was like, you know what? There's a Ghostbusters movie coming out this year, and a lot of people are excited for it, so I should probably check out this trailer. And sure enough, I watched the trailer and I am fully on board. We got Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things in here, which is one of my favorite parts of the Stranger Things series. I think he's a great actor. And Paul Rudd being attached to this one as well. What's not to love about Paul Rudd? He's a great actor, really funny guy. And just all of that really makes me excited for what's coming next. I've heard it's a kind of direct sequel to Ghostbusters 2, so I definitely need to get around to seeing Ghostbusters 2 before this one comes out, I believe, towards the end of the year. But that alone, of just the look of what this trailer is going to do, really gets me excited for this movie. Before I reveal my last one, which I'm sure is fairly obvious if you know me and you've been watching my videos for a while, do not forget to tell me what you are most excited for coming out this year. Did one of the movies I mentioned make your list as well, or did something that's on your list not even cross my mind? I may have missed something. Be sure to tell me in the comments down below. I'm always looking for new things to be checking out, so I would love to hear what you have to look forward to as well. So, my most anticipated movie of 2020, obviously, you know, Tenet. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director working today, probably of all time. I have all of his movies, and I thoroughly enjoy each and every one of them in their own way, and I could not be more excited for any other movie coming out this year than I am for Tenet. I really feel like this is going to be a really good step in the right direction for Christopher Nolan. Not to say he's had any missteps in his career. All of his movies are excellent. But it's really cool to kind of see us go back to, in a way, a more grounded Nolan. Like, this gives me a lot of Inception and Memento vibes. A lot of his more recent movies have been bigger and more out there stuff, where this is going to be more like in our world and grounded, which I'm really, really anticipating what he can come up with as far as story and characters. There's a really good cast for this movie as well. All of these things, all of them, make me so excited for this movie. I'm definitely going to be there opening weekend for Tenet. I think it's probably going to be one of the best movies of the year. That concludes my list for 10 of my most anticipated movies for this year, as well as 3 honorable mentions. Do not forget to share what you are most excited for in the comments down below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Next week, I'm going to be getting back into my, I guess, regular type of content, sharing about 1 to a few movies at a time, talking about their Christian themes, that kind of thing. I've been so busy over the past few months just trying to get out all of my countdowns, my movie collection, all that kind of stuff, and I'm very excited to get back to the core of my channel. Be looking forward to a continuation in the Lord of the Rings series, and then we're already getting well into January, so my haul for the end of the month, and a lot of other things. I got some cool ideas planned for coming up soon. As always, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. If you are looking to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith and film and everything in between, you're in the right place. You can subscribe for a new video just like this one every week. I'll see you in the next video.